It seems like Obama is the one who wants it shut down. So barring that, what options does the GOP have to stop Amnesty?
Well, in the first place, it's interesting that we still don't know what the president's going to do. We don't know when he's going to do it, and we don't know what any action he might take is going to consist of. So it's hard for us to know exactly how to respond to it. We do look generally at our spending power as the last best protection against overreaching by a president who is starting to accumulate too much power. So, you know, I do think the power of the purse is likely to play a role in our response to it. But it's difficult to know what that response might be until we see what his action is.
Sure. So you think the leadership would be amenable to using CRs to do something to try to defund whatever executive order may come next?
I think quite possibly, yes. No, I don't ever purport to speak for any other member of the Senate or of the House, but yeah, that is one of our prerogatives. If nothing else, the uncertainty created by all of it might, I suspect, give rise to a very short-term CR, one that would take us around the bend into next year, to the point where we could pass something else with Republican votes in the new Republican Senate.
Mm-hmm. And just out of curiosity, really, would a shutdown really be so bad for the GOP? You had one in 2013, and then you won a landslide in 2014.
I don't think it's helpful to rush into any discussion of that, especially because it doesn't need to come to that. All we need is for the president to abide by the rule of law, to respect the rule of law. And even if you can't respect the rule of law, at least respect the outcome of the elections. We just had an election in which Americans resoundingly chose Republicans to govern in the Senate and in the House of Representatives. 74% of those who voted in the election 2 weeks ago oppose having the president take executive action unilaterally on amnesty. Now, that includes a whole lot of people who like amnesty as a policy measure, as a legislative matter. But they don't want the president to do this on his own because they recognize, just as the president himself did back in 2011 when discussing amnesty, that he lacks the power to do this on his own.
And more Democratic leaders, or Democrats seem to be, lawmakers seem to be echoing a similar sentiment, saying, why not wait for the next Congress? You think?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's right. I think you've got a lot of my Democratic colleagues and counterparts in the House who are tired of being asked again and again to protect the president, often at great expense, often at great political expense to themselves and to their fellow Democrats. And I think they saw the results of this election and they realized, you know, enough is enough. It's one thing to talk about making law with a pen and a cell phone. It's another thing to take a very drastic action that would fundamentally transform our law in this area.
So you feel comfortable something that you'll be able to arrive at a meeting of the minds?
I certainly hope so. It's really difficult to predict what will happen, in part because we don't know what the president's going to do or when whatever it is that's going to happen is going to happen. But I do think we have the tools to do it, and I think it's very important to the American people that we show them that we're a Congress that is neither Republican nor Democratic. We are ultimately just an American Congress, elected by the American people to make law governing the American people. And we should remember our institutional prerogative as members of the lawmaking branch of the federal government. Our oath to the Constitution and for the system that it creates should transcend any party allegiances to the president.